spending bill.
All right, we have breaking news right now. A pursuit going on in Long Beach. Mark Kono live overhead in Sky 5. Mark.
Yeah, here we go, guys. Actually coming through Bellflower here, although Long Beach Police is in pursuit of this vehicle here. Lights out. This traveling very, very fast northbound on Lakewood Boulevard, heading up towards the 105 freeway. He'll be at the 105 in just a matter of about a quarter to a half mile here, where he will have an option of getting on the freeway here. Let's see what he does. I don't know what the want is. We just heard this about 2 minutes ago, and just kind of the thing ran right into us. So here we go, northbound on Lakewood Boulevard, and we're just coming up to the 105 freeway here. Let's see what he does. It looks like he's in that right lane of traffic here. Again, lights out, northbound here. He's going to cross over the freeway. Let's widen out just a touch. Okay, there you go. Northbound on the sorry about that. Northbound on Lakewood Boulevard here. Again, we don't know what the want is, but we do understand there are at least 2 people in this vehicle here. The driver, obviously, and a passenger. And that was as reported by one of the observers in that Long Beach police cruiser that is directly behind. Now you can see, whoa! Wow, you can see what this guy is doing. Desperate moves there by a desperate person there, making a right turn, and that is going to be, I believe, Imperial Highway eastbound now from Lakewood Boulevard here. We're coming through Downey now, so this thing, presumably initiating out of Long Beach, has made its way through Bellflower in towards Downey, where we just made the left turn. Now we are back northbound. If he proceeds northbound another maybe block and a half or so, he will be back on Lakewood Boulevard here, right where it comes to an angle here. Let's see what he does. He's going to be coming up on what is kind of believed to be slower traffic, maybe a red light. He's going to go right through it. Look at that, at full speed. Oh boy, he almost fishtailed and lost it right there. Wow. Okay, so northbound on Lakewood here. If you're familiar with Downey, we just passed that new development here, right by the old Rockwell Downey area, the Downey Studios. They developed a whole area here, and we're just coming by that area, northbound on Lakewood Boulevard here. And we're coming up on a major here. We've got a bus that is kind of maneuvering from the right lane over to the left, and we got a couple of people who are trying to get out of the way. There you go. There's that bus I was talking about here. But you see this person just making some desperate moves here, in and out of lanes. Wow. My goodness. Okay, so he'll shortly be coming up on, let's see, Firestone, and that is just what he went through. Firestone is just what he went through. That means he'll be coming up on Florence, and Ian, thanks for that. Coming up on the 5 freeway here in a matter of another mile or so. But look at that, slower traffic, red light, blows right through the red, makes the right turn. And that should be Florence Avenue eastbound. Okay, that is going to be Firestone. Here. So here we go, guys. Here we go, making a very fast move to the right, almost sliding out once again there. So, he is being pursued by, 5 units of the Long Beach Police Department here, and they are now traveling eastbound on Firestone, and he'll be getting up towards the 605 freeway in a matter of another mile or so. But again, desperate moves by a presumably desperate person here. You see him kind of weaving in and out of traffic, blowing through red lights, and just with a general disregard for commuters and pedestrians on the road here. He'll be coming up on what looks like a stoplight here, and he's got traffic stopped at a stoplight in just a couple of 100 yards there. Widen out the shot just a touch and see what he does. He's going to try and go right through the red light. You saw it, right through the red light, and he'll be crossing over the San Gabriel River here and over towards the 605 freeway. Guys, let me hand it over to you for just a moment. Okay, 5, I've got you there. On the north side.
All right, Mark Kono's been covering this in Sky 5. He was the first to get over it. This pursuit, we understand, started in Long Beach. We don't exactly know how long it's been going on, but we now know it's in the Downey area. And here's the other thing. Several near misses. And look at this high speed.
Getting on the freeway now. Let's bring Ginger Chan.
Mark is saying he's on the 605 southbound side. Now, this is right around that miniature golf course. You saw the Target, the Office Depot. So a lot of people who are familiar with Norwalk and Downey know that. In fact, even if you're not, you've probably seen that particular spot. Mark's saying 605 southbound side coming off of Firestone Boulevard. And you can see there's at least 1 unit in pursuit. We're talking about the want. We're still trying to find out the want for this. That would be, of course, anything from a failure to yield to stolen vehicle. We're going to rope you in here in just a second, Mark, but he's now saying he's already making that transition to that 105
We're
freeway.
staying on the 605.
Okay, so now he's decided to stay on the 605 because that transition, of course, is very close to this particular spot. 605 southbound side, as you transition and leave the 105 freeway, the southbound side in this particular area is usually not busy. It's north of this that we always see, of course, heavy traffic as you make that transition to the 5. But this particular stretch, taking you all the way to the 91 freeway and then farther south and in towards Orange County. Let's bring you back in, Mark Kono in Sky 5 HD, looking at this police pursuit.
Okay, no worries. Whoa, look at this guy, look at this guy. Oh, my gosh. Okay,
right, so
he's
he's
making
on
a
the
pretty
exit
aggressive move here. Wow, whoa. Look at all the cop cars trying to get off the freeway as well. They almost caused an accident here. So, my goodness, southbound side of the 605 freeway off at Rosecrans. So, South 605 getting off at Rosecrans. You saw that extremely aggressive move from the fast lane all the way across the freeway to the right, possibly an attempt to lose some of these guys. But look at him weaving in and out. Whoa, okay, something's going to happen here. He's going to come up on crash traffic. Oh, wow. Okay, Rosecrans westbound now. Rosecrans westbound off the 605 freeway here. And you see the aggressive nature of this pursuit here. This is creating problems here for commuters on the road. In fact, the Long Beach Police Department, who are in pursuit, kind of following suit with this guy, making that aggressive move off the freeway here, nearly causing a crash themselves here. So hopefully everyone just kind of stays safe on this, but they're not letting this go. They are not letting this go. Sky 5 HD, of course, first overhead with this breaking news here. The first to bring you images of this police pursuit that was coming through Bellflower at the time. Now we are back in Bellflower, so presumably not too far from where this pursuit, wow, look at that, initially began here. That was a green light going on yellow and red here. So, again, moving westbound on Rosecrans. We're staying on the major here. This guy traveling very fast and at very high rates of speed. We've got slower traffic ahead coming up to a red light here, so we're going to know in just about 5 seconds what he does here. Looks like both those lanes are going to be tied up, so he's probably going to end up, whoa, there you go, going on the outside lanes there, crossing over the major here. So westbound on Rosecrans, we are staying on Rosecrans here, and we're kind of making a dogleg move to the right and then back to the left, where it straightens out as you head over towards the 710 freeway. We're still trying to figure out what the want is on this guy here, or this pair of suspects. We understand, again, we'll just repeat it, that we did hear one of the units on the ground, one of the Long Beach units there, indicating that there was a passenger inside the vehicle here. 5, thank you very much. So, yeah, here we go. Westbound, we just passed the major there, and now we continue westbound. We're probably a good 2 to 3 miles away from the 710 freeway here, but again, presumably, this is the general area where we caught the pursuit just a few minutes ago. Now, again, Long Beach Police Department in pursuit here, so we presume this started a little bit farther south of us, and not aware of what the initial want was, but there you go, right through the red, right through the major, and Lakewood Boulevard is what we have crossed over right now. So westbound on Rosecrans from Lakewood Boulevard here, and you see this guy, just no rhyme or reason, just complete desperation. It's just a wild one here. So, you know, for such an early morning pursuit here, we are being led through Bellflower here, and we'll be coming up on Paramount shortly. But another red light, and he's got an island to contend with there, so let's see what he does. He's going to scooch over to the right lane. Oh, wow. That was a near miss. Okay. Wow. Southbound on Paramount from Rosecrans, and that is where we are right now. And this guy seems to be slowing down just a touch. Let's see as he comes out of the trees there, but southbound on Paramount. So we're coming up on the 91 freeway in a matter of about a mile and a half or so. Bear with me just a moment here. It looks like we're getting a sheriff's helicopter that'll be coming in here shortly. Sky 5 HD so fast on this thing that we were very first over this police pursuit here, but we are again southbound on Downey. It looks like southbound on Downey now, and traveling again at a very high rate of speed. Speeds have picked up somewhat since he almost collided with that vehicle in the intersection there. So in another maybe mile or so, we'll be back towards the 91 freeway and back towards the North Long Beach area here. So yeah, this fast-moving pursuit still carrying on southbound on Downey. We're coming up on slower traffic ahead, a red light. He's going to go to the outside lanes, bust right through the red light, and that was Alondra. So southbound on Downey, past Alondra. We've got a couple of smaller residential side streets to deal with as you make your way over towards the 91. You can always make a turn to the left or right. I can see cars up ahead moving to get out of his way here, so people actually see what is going on, and they're kind of maneuvering to get out of the way here. So we'll be over towards the 91 freeway in about, well, just under half a mile here, and let's see what he does. Oh, my gosh. You saw him lock him up right there. Almost hit cross traffic going through the intersection, and those are the dangers of someone who is just completely desperate, completely desperate without any regard for any of the rules of the road here, guys. Let me hand it over to you for a moment. Coming up to the 91 freeway here, guys. Let's see what he does. Let's see what he does. We've got a unit staging on the off-ramp of the 91 freeway. Okay, 91 West. 91 West is where we're going. So we're getting back on the freeway through the North Long Beach area here, 91 Freeway West, and now we're going to be getting onto the freeway. You know, all things considered here, you know, putting all these people at risk on surface streets, commuters and pedestrians. Maybe it's best if he picks up speed and, you know, just kind of makes his way out of the area here. Our best hope, of course, is that this guy kind of gives up peacefully, but without any regard and without any signs of slowing down or wanting to give up at this point, it looks like just a desperate move by a couple of desperate people here. Guys?
And Mark, I know that I was just looking at the maps right now. At 91 freeway, of course, as you know too, I mean, it's really not that bad. It's once you move farther to the west where things start to slow down. But if the guy's not that familiar with this area, the 91 freeway comes to an end, and then it dumps you out onto Artesia Boulevard. There now, looks like he's just passing maybe Cherry Avenue there on that 91 West. Mark and his photographer, Jeffrey Labs, they caught it. They were in Lakewood at the time just looking for traffic. They both heard it coming out of Long Beach, and boom, that's the reason they're on it so quickly. Mark, it looks like he's moving into the fast lane now, continuing west on that 91 freeway.
Yeah, we're past Cherry and just coming up on the 710 freeway, but things are starting to tighten up on him, so he's making evasive maneuvers to try and make his way through some of this slower traffic here. We've got one unit in particular that is very close behind him and is just kind of mimicking the moves that he is making here, so they have no intention of letting this go here. We've got a sheriff ship that is going to be overhead shortly here, but it looks like he's going to possibly make the off-ramp here, and we'll know just in a matter of a couple of seconds. There's the Atlantic Avenue off-ramp that is coming up for him. Beyond Atlantic Avenue, of course, is going to be the 710 freeway, so it looks like he's going to be staying on the freeway here, and you'll be seeing let's see, it's possible that he could still transition. It's still possible. So it looks like he's going to be on the transition. So transition road. So you know what, all things considered, he is basically staying in the general area here, given the fact that this apparently started out in the Long Beach area, made its way through Bellflower. Now we're transitioning northbound on the 710 freeway. So there's the transition road, and he's making his way up towards the 710, and out of North Long Beach in through Compton is where this thing is going to be taking us here now. The 710 freeway, not too bad at all. In fact, fairly light on the northbound side of the 710, at least for the foreseeable next couple of miles. It does tend to tighten up a little bit up at the 105 freeway, and I do see taillights up at the 105, so we'll see what he does from this point leading up to there. But, yeah, traveling at a very high rate of speed. There you go. Basically in the number 4 lane of traffic here, and we'll be coming up on Alondra. Beyond Alondra will be Rosecrans and the 105 freeway here. So, yeah, just a desperate drive by these two suspects, at least 2 suspects that we know of. There could be a further amount of suspects in the backseat. We just don't know at this point, but that was pointed out by the Long Beach Police Department units on the ground here just a few minutes ago. But what I can tell you at this point is there are at least 5 units that are chasing this guy down. Northbound on the 710 will be coming up on Rosecrans once again, where he has an opportunity to get off the freeway, and if he does anything like he did last time around, where he kind of angled off the freeway there from the very left lane, and it looks like he wants to do it, but no, not going to have enough room to do it there. So he almost did that same maneuver where he tried to lose the cops by staying in the outside lane and angling at a deep angle here over towards the off-ramp here. But he is now northbound 710, where he does have the option of getting on the 105 or staying on the north 710. I think he sees what's ahead of him here. We were talking about that slowdown on the north 710, all those taillights. That is going to slow him down, so he's now made his way over towards the 105 transition. In just a matter of about 3 seconds, we'll know if he goes east or west. Okay, he's committed east. Now on the 105 east from the 710 freeway here. So he's generally making You know, I guess you could say in a rough sense he's making circles around Bellflower, Downey, kind of north of Long Beach, presumably where this pursuit started. But we're going into the sun here, so I'm going to try and get ahead of him a little bit here. But with now additional traffic in the area here, we're going to try and keep this as safe as possible. But the sheriff's helicopter is overhead, and they are now tracking this guy at a very at a very close distance here. They're just on the south side of the 105 freeway. And look at this guy making efforts to get past slower traffic into the carpool lane. So he'll just literally just weave in and out of traffic here to try and avoid, the possibility of capture here. But we are just now traveling eastbound on the 105, East 105, guys.
Reckless, and that is abundantly reckless is probably how we should describe this. This person is really desperate to try to elude authorities.
Well, it's a recipe for disaster. There's no question about this. This is extremely dangerous. You have a loved one who travels the 105 freeway. It's been on the 605, the 710, the 91 in this area. You might want to try and get a hold of them if you can and let them know that this is going on, because you don't want to be in the way of this vehicle. I mean, if this guy swerves and hit a car at 90 miles an hour, he'll flip over. He could take up several other cars. It comes up now, we believe that this vehicle is stolen out of Long Beach. And sometimes we watch these pursuits and we look into the strategy of officers. And at this point in time, they have not backed off. They are right now staying behind the vehicle, 90 miles an hour times onto the freeway. But once again, a recipe for disaster when you're traveling at this high rates of speeds. You have somebody that does not really appear to have complete control of the vehicle. And when it got off the freeway, when the pursuit was off the freeway, it appeared there really wasn't much interest in protecting his life or the lives of others by going through intersections where there were red lights or just going 60, 70 miles an hour, even through a green. There are so many other things that can happen. The car is pulling in front of you. And we've seen a lot of this, an immediate right turn to get onto an off-ramp. Oh, boy. You know, indecision is going to kill somebody. When this individual has indecision and doesn't know if he's getting off or on, that's when somebody's going to die. That's when the crashes will be horrible, because they happen at an extremely high rate of speed. You know, at 80 miles an hour, trying to decide if you're going to get off the freeway or stay on, and then if you do that at the last moment, unfortunately, I think that's really what's going to be pose the biggest danger in a situation like this. So really, we hope this individual comes to his senses. Stolen vehicle out of Long Beach is about all we have right now on the driver. We believe, too, that was a report from the police department, but we haven't been able to really confirm that.
And you can see the traffic sort of stopping, having congestion there. He is going 86. Now he's slowing down just a bit, but it's gotten as high as 91 miles per hour. Just an awful situation. We can see him through the driver's window, kind of bobbing back and forth. You see that, and no telling what the passenger is thinking or doing at this point. But police are hot on his tail. This beginning in Long Beach with a stolen car. So that's what we believe. This is a stolen car suspect, and driving extremely erratically, extremely dangerous.
Right here.
And what'd you say,
Scott?
Scott?
On the end of the freeway. Well, it's a 105 west, and it ends. And once you cross,
be making that right turn southbound now, and that is going to be Studebaker here. So here we go, guys. Studebaker southbound, Studebaker Road from the 105 freeway, and now back in a residential area on the main street, albeit. But again, now we're talking about slower traffic. Now we're talking about commuters on the road, coming up on stop signs and red lights and what have you here. And so the danger factor goes up a little bit more when you're on surface streets here. So again, southbound Studebaker Road, and we'll be coming up on Rosecrans here in another block or so. And we know he's been on Rosecrans a couple of times, and so maybe he's telegraphing. Telegraphing his generally known areas here. So let's see what he does here. We'll be coming up on Rosecrans in just a matter of a couple of seconds, and let's see what he does. Is he going to bust right through it or make a turn? He's going to go right through Rosecrans here, continuing south on Studebaker Road, and that's kind of where we are right now. We've just passed Rosecrans. Beyond that, we'll have another major Excelsior, and beyond that, Alondra Boulevard here. So yeah, Cerritos College is going to be up above in terms of our shot here, but he's just kind of making his way southbound here. Southbound again, we have slower moving traffic, and some of them see what's coming at them in the rear view mirror, and they are making efforts to get over to the side. For other people, it just kind of comes up on them pretty suddenly here, but you can see this guy is just kind of lights out, just moving southbound again on Studebaker Road. We'll be coming up on Alondra in another quarter mile or so. Alondra is going to be the major here right by the northwest corner of Cerritos College, and we'll be there in just a matter of a few seconds. And so let's see what he does here. But again, you know, like we were talking about here, Bellflower, Downey, North Long Beach, kind of the general vicinity that he has been circling around, and presumably this began somewhere in Long Beach, and there we go. Westbound turn on Alondra from Studebaker, and we'll be coming up on the 605 freeway in just a matter of half or an eighth of a mile or so. So again, moving into this area, let's call it kind of this area of familiarity here, and we'll see if he gets on the 605 freeway. Is he going to stay? No, he's going to go right underneath the 605 freeway. He can still get on the southbound side of the 605 right underneath the overpass there, but no, he passes. Oh my gosh, almost took a motorcyclist out. My goodness. Okay, so that's bad. That's bad here. Westbound on Alondra here. Just coming up on the San Gabriel River, and he just crossed over there, so we'll be coming up into the Bellflower area once again here, guys.
I kind of am surprised, Mark, at some of the choices that he's making, but we were just talking earlier, I don't know if you heard me, that when you were getting that information from LA County Sheriffs about the want on this, how a lot of times these suspects go back to areas that they're familiar with, and that's pretty much what we've seen. You mentioned it, North Long Beach, Bellflower, parts of Lakewood, and of course we've seen him already in the Downey and Norwalk areas blowing through major intersections like this where everyone else was at a stop, but he's just going right through them, and he's had so many near misses. It's fortunate that he hasn't crashed into anybody, at least not yet. Maybe they're setting up something for some type of spike strip, but it's so hard to tell where he's going, even though he's kind of still staying in the general area, Mark.
Yep. Mark, we just want to remind viewers who are just joining us that you're watching the KTLA 5 Morning News at 6 a.m. It is 6:30 right now. We've been following this high-speed police pursuit since about 6:10 this morning. Let's get back up to Mark Kono. Mark.
Yeah, you saw that. Another near miss there. One of several that we've actually witnessed. None more scarier than that motorcycle that was coming off the 605 freeway southbound that he almost collided with. But multiple near misses here by this guy. And we continue westbound on Alondra. We've just passed Bellflower Boulevard here, and we're just now going to be coming up on Clark Avenue, beyond Clark, Lakewood Boulevard once again here. So look at that. My goodness, traveling at a very high rate of speed. Westbound on Alondra, coming through Bellflower here, and he is still being pursued by 5 units of the Long Beach Police Department here. Stolen vehicle is what we understand this to be. Now we have two layers of law enforcement. So we have LA County Sheriff's Department airship above and above them.
People out as far as walking on the sidewalks.
He pulls into a parking lot there of that fast food restaurant. So he's now heading north on some street. I don't know if that would be Clark again. And you know, when we say he has seems to have no point, no direction, over on Lakewood Boulevard. Okay, right where that was. Okay. It's very possible the driver does, because he has stayed in a general area. He stayed kind of in a general 5 square mile area, and has seemed to favor Rosecrans, Clark, Lakewood, maybe streets that the driver is familiar with. So now he's heading north on Lakewood, up towards Somerset.
And then Rosecrans once again. Towards that 105. So maybe this is an area this person knows.
Right, exactly.
Lakewood Boulevard northbound, passing Somerset, up towards Rosecrans Boulevard here, and now this guy just in a 2-lane section of highway here, where it kind of tightens up a little bit here. But again, I can see up towards Rosecrans. It's a green light right now. The car's just going through the intersection, so he has a clear shot for the next eighth of a mile or so. Let's see what the lights do as this guy kind of makes his approach over towards the intersection here. So right through. Okay, green light for him. Okay, just passing Rosecrans, and just in another half a mile or so, he'll be over the 105 freeway again. So again, you know, we're talking about this is where we caught this pursuit just several minutes ago. Sky 5 HD was first overhead and first to bring you live pictures of this ongoing police chase. The Long Beach Police Department in pursuit of a stolen vehicle here. This guy now traveling northbound Lakewood Boulevard here, and heading up right towards the 105 freeway here, right towards the 105 freeway. And this is about the general area where we initially found the pursuit here. And again, initiating out of Long Beach, we picked it up in Bellflower, where he made his way up towards Downey, and kind of back and forth, up and down between North Long Beach, Bellflower, and Downey. And here we go, back in towards Lakewood, or back northbound on Lakewood, past the 105 freeway here. So again, this is a familiar area for him. Presumably this is the second time, at least the second time that we've been through this neighborhood following this guy. But it looks like he's going to be making the left turn on Imperial. That is going to be westbound Imperial Highway from Lakewood Boulevard here. And there's a good shot. There's a decent shot into the driver door there. And you can see the guy looks like a guy, a male driver here. And we presume no one in the backseat that I can tell. But we do know that they have indicated that there is a passenger in that vehicle as well. So westbound on Imperial Highway from Lakewood Boulevard is where we are at here. He's going to be coming up to stopped traffic here. So let's see what he does as he makes his way up towards, say, Paramount Boulevard here. So, yeah, just a very dangerous situation
in
here.
this area north of the 105, I believe, Eliana, right? What area? Are we still leaving?
Actually on Imperial, which is the street that runs just north of the 105 freeway, continuing westbound, Michelle.
Continuing westbound. Again, this is a stolen vehicle that started out in Downey and has gone through several areas.
Fast traffic coming up.
Yeah,
so we have some traffic coming up, so let's see what happens here. Okay, he just merged with the traffic that was going in the opposite direction. That could have been very bad.
And this is one of the big concerns. We have this at 6:30 in the morning. People are heading out the door. They have their children in tow. They're going to school. They're going to work. And this can be an incredibly congested area. We don't know what their motivation is. And no doubt Long Beach police in pursuit are thinking about that. We know it's a reported stolen vehicle, but if they're throwing things out the window, did they have weapons? What else could be going on here? If there is some good news, generally when the pursuits get a little bit longer and they have the airship above, there is a higher likelihood that they're going to capture these suspects. It's really just a matter of time. And, Michelle, hopefully nobody getting hurt in the process.
And the matter of the number of units involved here. CHP, have you gotten any word if they're joining in on the forces to stop this driver, Eliana?
You know, Michelle, I have not heard about CHP joining the pursuit. That may be a factor if he decides to get back on the freeway. And then at that point, yeah, CHP could do it. I'm sure they're already ready to go because this guy has been close to several freeways, as Whit mentioned before, the 605, the 91, the 105. They're all in this area. So at any one of these points, this driver could decide to get on the freeway. And at that point, it would be best for CHP to take over just because they're more familiar with our freeway system than some of our local agencies who are basically more familiar just with their own jurisdiction. In this case, Long Beach PD has gone out of their jurisdiction. This pursuit started in their area, but they've been basically following this car the entire time that they've been in this pursuit. We've gone to Downey, we've gone to Bellflower, we've gone onto the freeways, but so far Long Beach PD isn't giving up on this, and they're continuing to follow this driver here just south of the 105 freeway.
And we talk about these types of pursuits, especially on surface streets, and how dangerous they can be. We bring these to you live because if you're in this area, do everything you can to avoid the area.
And to get the word out.
Exactly. We have some statistics back from a couple years ago in L.A. County. 30% of these pursuits end in some kind of collision. 30%. So it's a high number. So if you're in this area, stay indoors. Hopefully authorities can wrap this up. Eliana, it did look like they dipped back up into Downey for a period of time. Where are we now?
So this is actually on 2nd Street, which is where we first heard the pursuit when we started making our way over here. This is the street that he was on. So it's interesting that he's back on this street. It's a very small residential street. So it makes you wonder if perhaps this is a street he's familiar with. And that's why he decided to make his way back into this area.
Going northbound now. And hang on just a second here. Northbound. And is there a shot of the passenger in there at some point? Let's see if we can get in there. Okay, sorry about we got a little bit of cloud cover here coming through the area, but northbound on the major here. We'll be coming back up. He's got a straight shot, a clear shot, a straight shot up towards the 105 freeway here. He's going to be coming up on a green light that he can pass right through in just a matter of 2 seconds or so, but he's going to go through the intersection, and that is going to be Rosecrans. That is going to be Rosecrans that he just passes by. He'll be coming up on the 105 freeway here, but before that, he's got some some slower traffic ahead to contend with, and he's got some residential streets that he can maneuver in and out of should he feel the necessity. But at any rate, northbound on surface streets, be coming up on the 105 freeway in about 10 seconds here. He doesn't have the option to get on at this point, but he can go through and stay on the major and make his way over towards, say, Imperial Highway, and we'll see what he does at that point. But yeah, there's the 105 freeway that he has just crossed over. Northbound now, and we'll be coming back up into the Downey area, Paramount, those areas. And again, areas of familiarity, it appears, as this guy just kind of makes his way through and, you know, just ignores heeds by the Long Beach Police Department to stop and end this thing peacefully. So, you know, it's always just kind of scary when this thing goes on surface streets, because given the desperate nature of this guy's driving, evasive maneuvers displayed by this guy. There's a shot of the passenger there, kind of moving in that passenger seat. So yeah, indeed, there are at least two people in there. It looks like the back seat is clear, but at any rate, yeah, here we go, eastbound now, eastbound off the 105 freeway, and we'll be coming up on Lakewood Boulevard here. So again, another area of familiarity here. So he'll be coming right up on the intersection. Look at this. Oh my gosh, he's going to go right through the intersection there, continuing eastbound, and just crossing over Lakewood Boulevard here. This guy, again, just displaying little to no regard for anything out on the roads this morning here. And given the fact that people are going to be waking up and coming out of their homes and whatnot, it's just an exceedingly dangerous situation as this guy exhibits just erratic behavior, erratic driving, and just showing no signs of wanting to slow down and end this peacefully. Guys?
Mark Kono in Sky 5 as he continues to follow the chase that's been going on for, we're going to call it about 40 minutes at least right now. Okay. We picked it up at about 6:10. It's believed to be an older Honda, likely a Civic, that these two individuals are in. It's stolen. Again, it was Long Beach police that picked up the chase and started it. Now we have multiple agencies involved. He seems to be staying in a general geographical pattern, which is common when you've seen enough of these chases. People tend to go with the areas that they are familiar with. They go in sometimes, you know, large circles. This person has been on the 605, the 710, the 105 at varying times. Now they're back into the major arteries of the residential streets.
Right, back on those side streets, which, of course, makes you even more concerned because that's where more people are out. And, you know, schools, thankfully it's still a little bit early, but those school, you know, zones become really scary, especially. And he's been blowing through red light after red light, too, and really had quite a few close calls, including one with a motorcycle that made all of us extremely nervous.
Exactly.
Thankfully, though, he has not hit anybody yet. So, but continuing at just really, really high rates of speed and just being completely reckless. And now it looks like he's boxed in, Mark.
Here we go, guys. This is going to be at the where it meets the San Gabriel riverbed here. You see the Long Beach police officers getting out of the...
He's going to make a Y turn there, turn around. And now the officers have to worry that he's going to try to ram them. And this is where we ought to pull back on the camera here, guys, because those officers may be forced to open fire.
Okay. Right behind the tree here.
Right behind the tree.
They're shooting. The window's been shot out. The driver's side window has been shot out. Officers, both the officer you see on the bottom of your screen, as well as the officer between the three cars, have both apparently opened fire. The officers decide to use deadly force when they feel that the driver is putting them in danger. They open fire to save their own lives. So
it looked like they gave him ample, the suspects ample notice, an opportunity to stop, and he's just been blowing through all the signs and
But they have another.
I guess he didn't know his way around this particular area. But again, now a situation where these two guys are in the car, and being held off by the Long Beach Police Department here. And now it doesn't look like they've got any option here. So unless he goes right through the fence, or unless he tries to shimmy through kind of between the fence line and that light pole here, he is obviously going to be ordered. He is obviously going to be ordered out of the vehicle here, both these people, by the Long Beach Police Department here. Still no compliance on their part. From what we understand, let's pull out of the shot a little bit here, Jeffrey, just a little bit here. Okay. We'll hold this shot here, and we'll kind of keep a close eye on this here, but in case this thing goes south, we're going to widen out the shot, and again, to not show anything too distasteful here, but this is going to be at a self-storage unit at the east end of Foster Road, and now this pursuit, these two suspects here, these two suspects here not coming out of the vehicle as of yet. Guys, let me hand it over to you for just a second.
Hey, Mark.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
We're just hearing, and we thought we might have seen it, and now we are getting confirmation that shots have been fired by the officers involved here. And when we were noticing as the camera came around, there appeared to be at least 2 shots in that front windshield, Megan.
Right, yes, and that's the only confirmation we're getting at this time. But once again, no signs right now of the suspects surrendering. We're not seeing the suspects at all, but I'm glad Mark kind of came out with his shot so we can keep the situation tasteful in terms of what we're showing you. But again, just a very dangerous situation unfolding, but at least they have their guys, which is good.
Right, and I think that in a situation like this, the automobile, it's always been a weapon throughout this entire pursuit, but when it becomes a weapon against the officers, that's when they have the right to defend themselves, of course, and that's when they open fires, when he appeared to not just give up.
Right.
He appeared to be driving, trying to still get away, even though they had him boxed in. So we saw that we didn't actually see them open fire, but we saw evidence of it, and the car, of course, stopped moving. And so we do now, again, get confirmation that shots have been fired in this. A pursuit out of Long Beach that started at least 45 minutes ago. We picked it up at roughly 6:10. It wove, we're talking the 710, the 105, the 605, multiple different major thoroughfares in Southern California, but generally in the same geographical area. And whether or not he's from this area, we will soon find out. We do know that 2 people were in that vehicle. We don't know if they have been hit, what their status is. We know the vehicle was stolen, and that's kind of where we are at this point.
And it originated in Long Beach, which is one of the areas that, of course, they've been staying in. This is a storage shed space. Ginger Chan, we want to see if we can bring Ginger in a moment to get kind of more of an idea of the location.
Sure. So storage outlet, RV, and self-storage in Bellflower. And, you know, some people who know this area, we were discussing whether or not he was going to continue east on Foster. And if he wasn't familiar with this particular spot, as Mark alluded to, then he should have known it was going to dump him out here. But I was thinking that maybe he thought he was going to be able to pick up the 605. So in terms of the location, I guess it's a little bit fortunate that he's kind of in this particular spot where it's not going to be heavily traveled.
It appears at this point in time they had to open fire. And from what I can tell, it appears that more than likely the driver was struck.
Well, Scott, here's what we're going to do. You were just describing it. We're going to roll video of the end of this pursuit. Also, during that moment, you can check on the condition of the person in the vehicle. But this is what Scott was talking about. The person made this turn and did not realize he was pulling into a gated area. Officers blocked him in. And here's when it got very tense, because this person clearly was not going to stop. You can see him back up. Okay, there we are. All right, so there was a person who has survived. So now we're looking live here at the person surrendering. You see the glass on the ground next to it.
Doesn't look like that person has been shot.
But we don't know about the passenger.
Exactly, but you don't see any blood
here
with this person. That person.
So Scott, what did you see? Did he climb out of the window? How did this person get out of the vehicle while we were looking at video?
All of a sudden, he just climbed out of the window there. Now, originally I thought, I don't know if that's a driver or if that could have been the passenger. It would have been very difficult, though, for the passenger to go over the driver. Can we go in a little tighter, Jamie? I know if we're all the way in with our extreme vision. And what we can do is see if we see another person in there. They said 2 people. They thought 2 people. That was never confirmed. But you can see this individual is obeying officers at this point in time and slowly sliding on his stomach towards officers so they can make sure that he's not armed and they can take him into custody. And then they can also make certain that there's no one else inside the vehicle that could be armed and endanger police by firing on them. So it looks like this individual will be taken into custody. If there were 2, if we go back tight back into that vehicle, we have a little glare with the way the sun is coming in, but we can try and tell. Maybe you can see. Maybe there was only 1 person inside that vehicle. I don't see another person. Maybe there was only the driver and not 2. But, boy, look at the windows all shot out. And let's go back to the suspect, see if we can find that individual. He's been taken into custody, and it didn't look like that individual had been shot. Now, officers are bringing up a shield here. They may use that shield for cover as they move towards the vehicle. Let's go back to the vehicle, if we would, Jamie, just because they're giving it so much attention. Guns are still drawn, so they must believe that someone else is still inside the vehicle at this point in time because they're giving a lot of attention to the car. It's just difficult for us to tell if there's another individual in there.
Well, they can also talk to the person in custody. And it is,
if he will tell them anything.
That person needs to, generally speaking, will be asked, is there anyone in there or not? And, you know, then they move accordingly. So, but they're not going to just trust this person. Clearly, there's still a risk, even if there's someone in there, just because this person might say, no, I was by myself. There have been cases in the past where that person is uncooperative and officers subsequently got hurt as they tried to clear a vehicle. So obviously they'll want to be cautious. But if he told them there's somebody in the car, they have to treat that with that information as well. But he is in custody. It's certainly his attitude likely changed the moment those shots were fired, because he suddenly became compliant with everything the officers were saying, as you can see in the video, anything but when he was behind the wheel of the car.
And you see it right on the right side. You can see the puffs of smoke coming up from the vehicle. That's when they fired those shots. He could have ducked down, but it's incredible that he wasn't hit by any of those gunshots, it appears. So they are still having their weapons trained on the vehicle, trying to determine if someone else is inside. They must believe that someone is inside the vehicle.
Maybe they're in the back seat. Scott, when you pushed in very closely, we did not see anything in the front seat. Again, that doesn't mean the car is empty, but we haven't seen anything yet. But they're certainly giving it attention still.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems like usually in a situation like this, they take one person into custody. If they didn't believe somebody else was inside that vehicle, they would be moving up to clear the car by now. They usually do that fairly quickly. Now, they're moving forward behind the shield. You can see all the officers, guns drawn. It's quite remarkable that that individual got out of that vehicle without being shot or killed. We didn't see that he was wounded. It appeared to be a man. And now as they come closer, it looks like they're going to be able to clear this vehicle fairly quickly. But, you know, we look at what happened here in totality, and I can tell you it's fortunate that nobody was struck and killed by that car, and then to watch that individual get out of the vehicle without being struck by all that gunfire, and now we're looking to see if there might have been another person. And
well, you see the gloves that they're wearing, Scott, so it appears as if there's a person that has been injured, because they're all wearing gloves to possibly take care of it. There's a hand, I see. Yeah, that could, so the driver is, we need to pull back out if we can.
Pull back out a little bit.
We'll pull back out on that.
If they're pulling that driver out, there's a good possibility that the driver is still alive, because that will allow them to render aid. Also, the car wasn't.
The car was not in park.
Wasn't in park, was it? All right, so we have now we have the suspect.
Okay, they're checking.
On the ground.
They're doing a search of the vehicle, the rest of the vehicle. They'll pop up, open the trunk. There you go. There, it's all clear. Seems to be all clear.
Haven't seen the person they placed on the ground move yet.
No, not at all.
Well, and you know, many officers have an EMT rating, and they know how to render emergency first aid, but it's also not their first duty and not their first concern. You know, they have to make sure that they are safe, that the car is cleared. I'm sure they've called paramedics to the scene. It is possible, and I think we're seeing CPR being performed, which is something that we probably don't need to show you. And on the right, just to give you an idea of what this driver was doing. See that kind of evasive maneuver, putting that many people in danger? Officers knew they were dealing with somebody who wasn't going to give up. He had no intention of stopping. The way that second person got out of the car after it was all over, it was as if that second person couldn't get out fast enough.
We don't need to show
and
that.
we don't need to see the CPR guys.
Yeah, you know, Jeff and Sharon, I wonder if the assembled mobile shield they used was a reason. Oh, I'm being told to wrap.
Yeah, I know. All right. Yeah. Look, everybody, we've shown you the termination of this pursuit. We will be right back after this.
Yeah, right now they're trying to perform, you can see it even from this distance, they're trying to perform CPR on the driver of that vehicle when he became boxed in the storage facility, and then did the three-point turn and then tried to get away. That is when the car became a deadly weapon, as he tried to approach officers and get away once again and continue the chase, and that's when they opened fire. And you saw them take the passenger into custody. And now we're seeing the result of them moving in. They did it as safely as they could. They had the guard up, the shield up. They went in. They got him out of the vehicle. That's when the car rolled, because apparently he had his foot on the brake or some other, way of preventing the car from moving at that point. They dragged him out, and they're now trying CPR on him. They opened fire when he did that three-point turn and tried to get out, and clearly they're trying to save him right now.
Once again, there were 2 suspects. The other one has been taken into custody. Let's bring Ginger Chan in for the latest on your roads, what the traffic situation is in this area. And Ginger, are you there?
Yeah, I was just thinking about this particular spot because Mark was saying how it just ended right there at Foster Road. And we talked earlier about how Foster Road is a major thoroughfare until you get just before this particular spot, because it appears it would lead you to the 605 freeway. Instead, it dumps you right at the San Gabriel River, which that is why the 605 freeway is known as the San Gabriel River Freeway, as it runs adjacent to it. The good news is it's obviously dead ends here, so people who normally would not continue east, knowing that they cannot access the 605 freeway here. And Mark was talking about how some of the trucks are trying to get out of that self-storage unit, but at least it is not a heavily traveled area, so that is some good news. Now, with the 2 different air units that have been above, and I think probably LAPD will be leaving the scene shortly if they haven't already, that may put some extra pressure on the 605 freeway as well as the 105, as a lot of people can see that, and the air units circling the area. So that is just something to think about if you have plans to take any of these freeways. We'll start to see some of the volume building here. That is just pretty
amazing
normal.
That we have not heard of any other people being hurt when he was blowing through these intersections, going 70 miles an hour, 90 miles an hour on the freeway, 70 miles an hour on surface streets, and no injuries, not hitting any cars. That is amazing. And you can see right there, that's just one of many near misses that occurred in this pursuit, which had such high rates of speed, and it was the driver was driving so erratically. We haven't seen that in such a long time.
Well, there was that one moment where he almost hit the motorcycle, which was, you realized how desperately this person wanted to get away. Watch this, the motorcycle just turning with the arrow, and somehow that person missed him. And so then the chase continued. But again, 90 miles an hour on Rosecrans with pre-rush hour traffic. But Scott, this was something else, and you even said it. You didn't think that this thing was going to end as we see some of these slow speed chases end.
Yeah, no, it didn't end well, and we just got some new information that during the pursuit, a gun was thrown out. And so we mentioned during the pursuit that they did not go to surveillance mode, and that might have been one of the reasons they were not going to let out on this this individual, because now we understand from the LA County Sheriff's helicopter that's been overhead that they believe a gun was thrown out of the vehicle sometime during the pursuit. So I think that really changed, or it influenced the demeanor of how they covered this pursuit, how they chased this vehicle.
Well, that would be one gun thrown out. We don't know if there was another gun still in the vehicle.
Absolutely. All right, as we continue to watch this, let's go on over to Alicia Del Valle and get a quick check of traffic. Alicia.
Yeah, trying to get you around the bigger trouble spots. A motorcycle crash is blocking lanes on the 10 westbound at Normandy. Another traffic alert on the 170 at Sherman Way. If we go to Waze, I can show you another alert on the 405. If you take the 405 southbound, there's a crash blocking lanes at Victory. And I'm going to leave you with a quick peek at the 101 with our Caltrans camera. It's slow and go, but fender benders have been cleared near Balboa. Let's check in with Bree.
You have to be very careful on the roads this morning, and that's because of these winds. We've got northerly winds gusting over 35 miles per hour through the mountains, some of the passes. Right around downtown LA, 25-mile-per-hour winds will be with us through the afternoon. Temperatures warming up a few degrees. Tomorrow is going to be even warmer, and then over the weekend, we're going to stay dry. Temperatures in the mid-80s. Now, for the valleys, we're going to go from the low 80s today, a little bit warmer tomorrow in the mid-80s. Then over the weekend, we'll see highs in the upper 80s, even the low 90s. So it's going to remain dry all the way into next week. Be careful of those winds. Back to you.
All right, Bree, thank you very much. And we're going to go back out live to the scene in Bellflower where this pursuit ended with 2 pursuit suspects, one having been taken into custody and the driver having been shot and being worked on there at the scene where the pursuit ended.
We do not know the condition of that person, but you can tell paramedics are providing care. We'll continue to monitor this, try to let you know what the person was wanted for, maybe out besides this stolen vehicle, find out who it is. We'll, of course, continue to cover this throughout the morning, provide updates as warranted. You've been watching Eyewitness News this morning. Good Morning America is next.
A high-speed pursuit comes to a deadly end as officers corner those suspects.
The stolen car pursuit started in Long Beach and wound through Lakewood, Downey, and eventually Bellflower.
KTLA 5's Elizabeth Espinosa live where it all came to an end. Elizabeth.
Yeah, we were all holding our breath, right? Watching that. Oh. Well, let me show you the active investigation here. We just overheard a Long Beach police officer say probably another 2 hours for this active investigation. And yes, it was a low jack hit that led them to that car. The pursuit began at just before 6 o'clock this morning. Now, the driver, we're told, threw out a gun during the chase. It has been secured. And again, it is amazing that no innocent lives were hurt.
Oh my gosh, almost took a motorcyclist out. My goodness.
Sky 5 was first over this high-speed chase this morning. We caught the moment the driver was cornered at Foster Street here in Bellflower.
And be prepared to make a move here, but if that passenger does come out.
Long Beach police has confirmed the suspect who drove this stolen 2000 green Honda Accord was shot and killed. His uninjured passenger is now in custody.
It's probably going to be identification, most likely done by the coroner's office.
Long Beach PD is handling the investigation. Sergeant Johnson confirmed multiple shots were fired. Unknown how many shots and officers fired, he did tell us officers opened fire only when the suspects drove towards them, attempting to escape.
After the officer-involved shooting occurred, officers removed the subject from the vehicle and started rendering life-saving measures. LA County Fire Department was then brought in, who determined the subject deceased at the scene.
The unidentified suspect drove at high speeds carelessly, running through intersections during the morning rush hour when many folks were on their way to work and school. A true miracle, they say, the suspect didn't crash or hit anyone. This Bellflower resident lives up the street.
When I was watching that part on the news, and I was like, oh my God, yeah, it's scary. His bad decision. You know, you don't commit crimes and hope for the best, but yeah, right there. I mean, yeah, that's scary. My daughters are in the house. I got the doors locked.
For Kathy, she hopes this latest incident on her street helps bring about some safety measures to her neighborhood.
So there's always a lot of speeding along here because vehicles don't know that that's not a through street, so that's a problem. We'd like to get some speed bumps in here, so maybe this will show. There's a lot of side swiping and stuff like that of cars, yeah. So. But yes, he must have just thought he was going to be able to go through, and once he committed, he was stuck.
And again, back here live, we're off of Foster Road and Regent View Avenue, so the area is cordoned off, and there are a number of employees from that self-storage space you see there, and those employees have been here since 6 o'clock in the morning. They've not been able to go to work, which has been a real hardship for them. But also, I asked police officers, here, so this is an older model Honda Accord. Why would they steal an older car? You'd think they might go for a newer car. And he said, well, generally what happens is the newer cars are so advanced electronically, they're harder to break into, and the older ones are a little easier. But in this case, it had the low jack system that really worked for them. That is the very latest. Reporting live in Bellflower, Elizabeth Espinosa, KTLA 5 News. Glenn and Lou, back to you.
Elizabeth, thank you.